Season 21, Season of the Deep, is upon us, and there are quite a few more things going on compared to last season, so let's take a look at what's up. First and foremost, there is no increase in the power or pinnacle cap, so if you're already at one of those caps and you're happy with your level, there is no grinding needed there. The Vanguard, Gambit, and Crucible rewards have been boosted to drop an exotic Engram, and we'll discuss the ramifications of that later in the video. This season is split into 3 different activities: Salvage, Deep Dive, and Fishing. Fishing feels like a bit more of an optional thing at the moment, but it will be needed to get the title for the season if you care about getting the title. You'll start the season by doing the intro mission, which I'm not really going to spoil here. It's all story stuff. You can just do that on your own. There are a few steps to this quest that will eventually take you through pretty much everything there is to offer this season, though. Let's start with Salvage. Salvage is a 6-player match-made activity on Titan, so to speak. Titan is not available for free roam. It's not a destination that you can go to, but the areas in this activity are pretty big, so I'm sure you can just roam around if you want to check out more of the space. Salvage isn't terribly different to what you may expect from a seasonal activity. There are various objectives to complete, ranging from kill stuff and protecting cargo, to protecting a portal from Thrall from entering, to fixing equipment by picking up tools and repairing stuff, to defusing bombs. After 2 of these, you will make your way to the final boss room, which does actually have something resembling a mechanic to it. In this room will be 4 plates, each plate with a various hive symbol. In the center of the room will be the symbol of the plate that you must stand on in order to gain a buff to remove shields from yellow bar enemies. The buff is only while you are on the plate, so make sure to go over to the plate because there's lots of line of sight issues, and if people are messing around, not paying attention, the enemies may track to those people and thus may not be in line of sight of the people on the plate. This main rune will rotate every so often, so be sure to move from plate to plate as necessary. After the 4 mini-bosses are dead, the main boss will spawn in, and the same mechanic is applied here as well. The boss can be killed quite quickly if you have the damage for it, otherwise it will regain its shield after a short time, in which case you need to remove it again. Deep Dive is a 3-person activity where you go on an excursion in the methane oceans of Titan. The first part will have you navigate through the methane ocean to a combat scenario. Note that this first room and potential future encounters has an optional hard mode. Normally, if you complete this activity, you will get a tier 2 chest at the end. However, if you find the Toland-looking wisp, in this case called the Lure, you can activate a hard mode. All players in the run must activate this lure. If only 1 person does, it's not going to work. If only 2 people do, it's not going to work. All 3 people need to activate it. If you all trigger this hard mode, 4 Taken Blights are going to spawn in the area. In this example, 2 spawned inside and 2 spawned outside. It is very possible that they spawn in different locations each time. There's also a different mechanic that you may need to do where you need to stand in beams of light until they go away or something along those lines. There may also be other mechanics that you need to interact with as well instead of those 2 things that I just mentioned. This hard mode is called a pressure trial. If activated, you will have an extra combat sequence after doing the main combat experience here, which is hacking nodes and killing enemies or charging up the drill, similar to what you may see in Salvage. If you're not doing the hard mode, you can just proceed as normal. If you are doing the hard mode, then you'll need to complete the bonus combat experience within the time limit. This combat experience was basically just a ton of high health enemies spawning in 3 waves, and I highly encourage you to use very strong Super Seer to get rid of them quickly. If you manage to complete the event within the time limit, your chest at the end will be a tier 3 chest, and it will also spawn a bonus chest, although the bonus chest wasn't really that great when I got it, so I don't know. The next section is a boss room after this first room. In week 1, this boss is a servitor with gated health markers. Nothing too crazy here, just get the boss's health down to be teleported to a different small arena where the boss will have this intermediate phase, and in week 1's case, the servitor is protected by a bunch of smaller servitors. Just repeat these phases as needed until the boss dies. There are also stealth resolute marauders that are appearing in this fight. It seems like there's maybe 1 per boss phase. I don't know if they do anything or if they're just some kind of enemy at this time. I'm not really sure what's going on with those, but yeah, just keep your eyes out, I guess. At the end of this event, we'll spawn a chest, which will consume a key if you have one. So speaking of keys, there are two kinds of keys. You got your salvage keys, you got your deep dive keys. These keys are automatically consumed if you have one when opening the chest at the end of the respective activity, improving the rewards. However, at the moment anyway, these keys appear to be much more rare than Defiant keys, aka the Season 20 keys. It's unknown if they are supposed to be this rare or not. I did not have much luck in the Strike playlist, but there is a small amount, a very small amount, of anecdotal evidence that says that harder activities seem to have a higher drop chance. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. I managed to get 6 total keys from 2 complete runs of Last Wish. I also ran 2 just Vanguard strikes. I didn't get any. I had some people in my chat say that they went over 5 in the strike playlist. I had some people say they got keys from strikes. I had someone say that they got 3 out of 3 doing nightfalls. Again, completely anecdotal evidence, but I have gotten a lot of messages and questions asking if the keys are just super rare or if they have bad luck. So it does seem like they are pretty rare. Could it be a bug? Maybe. Or maybe they're just very rare intentionally, but without Bungie's input, I do not know. At the moment, I would say don't feel too pressured to only do these activities if you have a key. Speaking of rewards, there are 2 sets of weapons from the Season 21 vendor, Deep Dive and Reckoning weapons. Deep Dive weapons are the true Season 21 weapons. They are craftable with their patterns, while the Reckoning weapons are not craftable. Next up is fishing. This is a much simpler and seemingly more optional activity, although it is part of the opening quest, and you, again, will need to interact with it if you want the title. While you don't need bait in order to fish, you need bait to catch the higher level fish. So if you just want to fish for the love of the game, you can just go do whatever you want. But if you want those higher level things, you need bait. Each swing of the rod will charge you 1 bait, if you have any, and you can hold up to 500 bait. Bait comes from pretty much everywhere in the game, although at this time I would kind of just recommend running the seasonal activity as it gives 18. I think someone said Nightfall gives 19, Heroic Public Events give 7 or 8, Patrols give 2, Lost Sectors give 5, Resource Nodes give 1, Strikes Crucible Gambit give, I believe, 8. There are 3 zones to go fish in, EDZ, Nessus, and the Throne World. You can find the fishing spots on your main map when you're on a destination, but also just look for the giant beam of light coming from the sky. It's pretty tough to miss that. The mechanic here is pretty simple. You throw out your fishing rod or your reel, whatever, you wait for a fish to tug on your line, and then you reel it in. Now, if you get a perfect catch, which is where you reel in the fish almost immediately after it catches your line, which is also indicated by your buffs if you do manage to get one, you have a higher chance at a rarer fish, including legendary and exotic fish. There is also a bonus called the Focused Fishing Meter, where the more you catch legendary or exotic fish, the higher the meter climbs. And as the meter climbs, you get greater chances at these rarer fish. This meter applies to everyone fishing, not just you. The fishing tackle that you get from the opening quest, which is located in your inventory, will also say which fishing spot is better for the day, indicated by the orange message. In this example, it's the EDZ. You can deposit your fish into your aquarium at the helm. Legendary fish can give you legendary weapons or keys, while exotic fish can give you exotics, or like ascendant shards. It is also possible to get exotics from legendary fish. It's a pretty relaxing way to potentially get some endgame stuff. The only issue is that when a public event spawns in, the fishing spot completely disappears, which is kind of annoying. Finally, let's talk about upgrades. These are no longer at the helm, but rather in your seasonal challenge tab, and they're called seasonal bonuses. Most of these can be acquired at any time. Only 3 of them are time-gated behind weekly bosses. These all give similar bonuses that you may have found in previous upgrade grids from other seasons. Next up are some new things that launched with the season. First, let's talk about getting your new Strand Aspect. To start this quest, talk to Nimbus. This entire quest line takes about 20 to 30 minutes, not too long, and gives maybe some more exposition on the Veil, but also kind of not really, a little bit, I don't know. After you complete it, you're going to get your Aspect. You do not need to do this quest multiple times. It is account-wide, but you do need to complete the Unfinished Business quest line, which is the quest for Deterministic Chaos, which is the Void Exotic Machine Gun. I think that quest took me about 45 minutes to complete when I did it back in Lightfall, somewhere around there. Deepsight Harmonizers allow you to collect pattern progress from a weapon that is not actively a red border or has never been a red border. There are only 6 of these available for the entire season, with all of them coming from the season pass. There are no other locations for these harmonizers. There's 3 in the free tier, there's 3 in the paid tier, with the first one appearing at level 47. Note that you cannot use a harmonizer on a gun that has already been a raid border, nor can you use them on raid weapons that were purchased from the raid kiosk at the end of a raid, or from Hawthorne. Raid weapons also cost spoils in order to activate them. Next, we have exotic engram focusing. We spoke about this in a preview video during Season 20. This feature is now live. This is where the exotic engrams that are dropping from Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, and any other sources that you might find them from will be coming into play. You have 2 options when focusing. You can just focus a random exotic from a specific era of the game for cheap, or you can use more materials and go for a specific exotic. If you choose a specific exotic, you're going to need an exotic cipher, which mainly come from Xur and have a somewhat lengthy acquisition time. Note that I haven't heard the greatest stuff about the rolls people are getting, though. I've seen many complaints about low rolls more than I've seen praise for higher rolls. So, at the moment anyway, focus at your own risk. If you want to still acquire engrams from last season, you can visit the Season 20 Helm vendor to pick up the artifact again. Finally, Last Wish has had its weapons renewed with new perk rolls, and they are now craftable. Hawthorne is going to be the raid kiosk, so to speak. So like all the other raids have the kiosk at the end, Hawthorne is that kiosk. Talk to her to pick up a quest that requires you to complete every encounter of Last Wish. Upon doing so, you'll be able to buy, with spoils, a weapon off of her that gives you pattern progress both when you buy the weapon and when you activate the deep sight. You're getting double progress there. Otherwise, Last Wish is the featured raid of the first week of the season, which means it is farmable, and yes, that does mean you can farm individual encounters if you want, although I would suggest at least 1 full run for the quest that Hawthorne gives you. When it is no longer the featured raid, it will not be farmable until it rotates back around, and apparently, the Rocket Apex Predator is capable of some pretty crazy rolls. I've heard it's the best new rocket, which is crazy for it because it used to be terrible, but I have not done a ton of research personally just yet. We are going to have a video going over the best rolls for all of the guns from Last Wish and from the season at some point pretty soon. I think that's about it for the season. Feel free to add some stuff to the comments if I missed something you think is pretty crucial. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.